Emma's hands were shaking. Her heart was beating like a drum in her chest. The man in the black hoodie was getting away again. But this time, she wasn't going to let him. She raced through the market, dodging crates, yams, and shouting traders. Her eyes never left his back. The bag he carried wasn't his. It belonged to the woman she had just passed, the one crying for help. No police, no backup, just Emma, barefoot, fast and full of fire. As she pushed through the crowd, her mother's words echoed in her mind. Emma, the world may be dark, but you can bring light. Even a small girl can stand for what's right. She didn't catch him that day, not yet. But what she saw changed everything. This wasn't about a stolen wallet or a missing phone. This was something bigger, something dangerous. And Emma was already too deep to turn back.
Alakaztra Fairy Folktales.
Emma was 19 years old and she had one mission: catch thieves. She wasn't a police officer. She didn't wear a badge. She didn't even have a working phone. But in the town of Lakeside, everyone knew her. Emma, the thief catcher. It hadn't always been this way. Just a few years ago, she was an ordinary girl. Her father was a carpenter. Her mother sold fried yam at a roadside stall. They were poor but happy. Then one night, everything changed. Emma was 16. It was raining hard. When she got home, she found her mother lying on the floor. Her hands were tied. Her face was bruised. Their small savings box and her father's old radio were gone. A thief had come in while her father was away and beaten her mother when she tried to stop him. That night, something inside Emma broke and something else came alive. She made a promise to herself: no more fear, no more helplessness, no more thieves getting away. She trained herself day and night. She learned how to follow people without being seen. She practiced climbing walls, jumping fences, listening for lies. Her legs grew stronger, her eyes sharper. People laughed at first. A girl chasing thieves, that's funny. But Emma didn't stop. One day she caught her first thief. His name was Patrick. He had stolen money from an old woman's vegetable stall. Emma chased him through 5 streets and grabbed him by the collar. The market women clapped. They called her thief catcher. The name stuck. Soon people started coming to her when something was stolen. Emma always found the truth, and most times she got the stolen items back. But things were changing. Stranger things were happening in Lakeside. Not just stolen phones or market goods. People were going missing, children, and the police. They did nothing. Some people said the police were being paid to stay quiet. One morning, on her way to her mother's stall, Emma saw a young girl crying by the side of the road. "What's wrong?" Emma asked softly. The girl wiped her face. "My brother didn't come home last night," she said. "He went out after school and never came back." Emma's stomach turned. This was the 3rd missing child in 2 weeks. She knew something was very wrong. Later that day, she saw him, a tall man in a black hoodie. It was a hot day, too hot for that kind of clothing. He moved fast through the market, looking around like he was hiding something. Emma watched him carefully. Then, as he reached into his pocket, a gold chain fell out for just a second. Her eyes widened. One of the missing boys had been wearing a gold chain just like that. She didn't think twice. She followed him. He moved through side streets and quiet paths, avoiding people. He finally entered a small compound through a rusty gate. Emma crept up and looked through the gate. The yard was silent. The building inside looked old, with cracked walls and broken windows. She stayed hidden, heart pounding. She waited for hours. Just before sunset, the man came out again. This time he wasn't alone. Two more men followed him. One was bald and thin. The other had a scar across his cheek. They each carried large black bags, heavy ones. Emma ducked quickly. They didn't see her, but she saw them. She memorized their faces, their clothes, even the way they walked. She didn't have a phone to take pictures, no way to call for help, but she had her mind, and she remembered everything. That night, Emma lay awake on her small bed. Her mother was fast asleep, but Emma couldn't close her eyes. She had just found something dangerous. This wasn't about small thieves anymore. It was a gang. And if she wanted to stop them, she'd have to go further than she ever had before. The next morning, Emma went back to the compound. She didn't go inside, not yet. Instead, she stood far away, watching from behind a broken fence. The building was quiet again, no sign of the three men from the night before. But Emma had a feeling they would return, and she was right. Around noon, a small truck pulled up beside the gate. Two men stepped out. One of them was the bald man with the long neck. They opened the back of the truck and started moving boxes inside the building. Emma's heart raced. What was in those boxes? She needed help, but who could she trust? Not the police, not even the town leaders. They would laugh at her or call her crazy. There was only one person she could go to, Mark. Mark was her childhood friend. He had moved to a nearby town 2 years ago, but he still visited sometimes. He was smart, careful, and most importantly, he believed her. She ran to the old internet cafe and used the manager's phone to call him. Emma, Mark said, "Are you okay?" "No," she replied. "Something big is happening. I need you here." 2 hours later, Mark arrived on a motorbike. He wore a faded denim jacket and carried a small black notebook. They met in a small alley, away from watching eyes. Emma told him everything about the missing children, the men in the compound, the gold chain, and the boxes. Mark listened without interrupting. When she finished, he looked serious. "This sounds like trafficking," he said softly. Emma swallowed hard. "You mean human trafficking?" Mark nodded. "Yes. It's possible they're kidnapping children and smuggling them somewhere. Those bags and trucks, they're moving something." Emma felt her legs weaken, but she didn't sit down. "We have to stop them," she said. Mark nodded. "We will, but we need proof, real proof, or no one will believe us." So that night, they made a plan. They returned to the compound with flashlights and Emma's old camera. Mark had brought one from his job. They stayed low, crawling on their stomachs behind trash bins and fences. It was dark and quiet. Then, around midnight, a car pulled up to the gate. A tall man came out. He wore a suit and dark glasses, even though it was night. The three men from earlier came out to meet him. They opened one of the bags. Inside, Emma saw movement. a child's hand. Her stomach turned. She almost cried out, but Mark held her arm and shook his head. "Take the photo," he whispered. With shaking hands, Emma clicked the camera. Flash off, no sound, but her heart was louder than thunder. They took more pictures of faces, bags, license plates, everything. Then they crawled away. They didn't speak until they reached the alley near Emma's house. "I can't believe this," Emma said. Her voice was shaking. "We have the proof now," Mark said. "Let's show it." But it wasn't that easy. The next morning, they went to the town news station. The man in charge, Mr. Collins, looked through the photos. His face turned pale. "This is serious," he said. "If this is true, we'll publish it." But by evening, the photos hadn't been shared. Instead, men came to Emma's house, 2 of them dressed in black. "Are you Emma?" one of them asked. "Yes," she said slowly. "We heard you've been going around making false claims," he said. "You need to stop." Emma's heart dropped. "I have proof." The second man stepped forward. "We don't care. Stay out of it, or something bad will happen to your mother." Emma's blood went cold. She shut the door and locked it. Her mother was out buying oil at the market. Emma sat on the floor, tears in her eyes. "They know," she whispered. That night she couldn't sleep. Mark stayed hidden outside just in case. At dawn, Emma made her decision. She wasn't going to back down, not now. The next day she printed the pictures and ran to the community school. There she gave the photos to Mr. Edwards, a teacher who had always spoken out against evil. By that evening, the news had spread. All over Lakeside, people were talking. Pictures were passed around, names were mentioned, and the town was angry. The next morning, a crowd marched to the compound, but it was empty, gone. The truck, the bags, the men, everything. Emma stood at the back of the crowd, her fists clenched. "They ran," someone said. "Cowards," another added. Emma didn't cry, she just watched. Later that day, someone slipped a small envelope under her door. Inside was a photo. It was her, a picture of her walking with Mark the night before, and a note, "We see you, stay quiet." Emma stared at the note for a long time. Then she tore it in half. "I'm not afraid," she whispered. Emma didn't sleep that night. She kept the light on and sat by the door, a stick in one hand and her phone in the other. Every little noise outside made her jump. She knew they were watching. She knew they could come back. But she also knew something else. She was not alone anymore. The photos she and Mark had taken had gone viral. Local blogs, youth groups, and even national news outlets had picked them up. People all over the country were now talking about the girl who exposed a child trafficking ring. Strangers were messaging her online. Some called her brave, others offered help. By morning, police officers from the city came to Lakeside. These weren't the usual lazy ones. They came with files, badges, and serious faces. They wanted to speak with Emma. She told them everything, showed them the pictures, the compound, the license plates, the threats. Mark was there too. He backed up her story. The officers listened carefully. They took her camera and made copies of every photo. They promised to protect her and her mother. For the first time in weeks, Emma felt safe, but the work wasn't done. "We believe the men have moved to another town," one officer said. "They're not just a local group. This runs deeper." Emma looked down. "What can I do now?" The officer looked her in the eyes. "You've already done more than most, but we'll need your help to keep this story alive." That day, Emma was invited to speak at a youth center. She stood in front of over 100 teenagers and told them everything about her promise, her fears, her courage, and how one photo had started a fire. After her talk, a girl walked up to her with tears in her eyes. "My brother went missing last year," the girl whispered. "No one listened to us. Thank you for speaking out." Emma hugged her tightly. Her heart ached, but she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Days passed, then weeks. One evening, while Emma and Mark were sitting outside her house, a white van stopped across the road. Emma froze, but this time it wasn't danger. Two officers stepped out. One of them smiled. "We caught them," he said. Emma's eyes widened. "What?" "We raided a warehouse in River Bend," the officer continued. "They were keeping children inside. We found 3 of the missing boys. They're safe now, scared but alive." Emma covered her mouth. Tears rolled down her cheeks. One of the children was wearing a gold chain. "We arrested 5 men," the officer added, "including the one with the scar on his face. We're still hunting for the man in the suit, but we're getting close." Emma couldn't speak. Her body was shaking with emotion. Mark put an arm around her shoulder. "You did it," he whispered. "No," she said softly. "We did it." The story became national news. Young woman bravely exposes child trafficking ring in Lakeside. Meet Emma, the teen who fought for justice. Her face was on TV, in newspapers, on posters. She was offered awards, scholarships, and even interviews in big cities. But Emma didn't care about fame. She only wanted one thing: a safer world for children like her. One morning, a man knocked at her door. He introduced himself as Mr. Blake, a teacher from the capital. "I run a youth crime prevention program," he said. "We train young people to defend their communities, speak up, and stay alert. I want you to join us, maybe even help lead." Emma thought for a moment, then she smiled. "Yes," she said, "I'd love that." She moved to the capital 2 months later. Her mother stayed behind, proud and safe. Mark visited often, bringing fresh plantains and gossip from Lakeside. In the city, Emma helped other young people tell their stories. She showed them how to watch, listen, and speak out. She taught them that even the smallest voice could make a big difference. She still missed her old town, the dusty roads, the crowded markets, the smell of fried yam. But she knew she had found her purpose. She was more than just a thief catcher now. She was a fighter, a protector, a light in the darkness, and she was just getting started. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this.